Did.
So we are by our lonesome. We will
Yes.
get going, but because I enjoyed last class quite a bit doing the monochromes. We started off in pencil, like Aditi normally does, but instead of for me, in I like I said, I mean, pencil does not excite me. So what I did was I basically took color pencil. Okay, last time I'll show you the picture. I took color pencil and I started off with this pair. So I will take color pencil again today. If you want to do this exercise, pencil exercise in normal lead, go ahead and try it in lead. But I'll take a color pencil just to because I have to do it. Like I'm I'm pushing myself to do it. So now where are my pencils? The place is such a mess. Just give me 1 minute. I'll get a pencil here somewhere. So I'm using this DOM set, and last time I used blue. This time I'm going to use. So what we are trying to do with monochromes, as we all know, is basically work with shade, different shades of a color. And the study of monochromes, you must remember, is basically keeping color and hue, not hue, yeah, hue out of the picture and keep only the shade in your picture. So basically, you're analyzing light to dark, dark to light. What are the different shades your picture has? Translating that with any color and its own shades. Okay. So to get that part right, to get the different shades right, you will notice, and this is from personal observation. You will notice that light shades like yellow, maybe a sap green, or sky blue, those kind of colors, its darkest shade is not dark enough when you want to do a monochrome study, right? So light shades of colors, okay, are not always very good for monochrome studies because your darkest shade is not dark enough. And so the difference between your lightest shade and your darkest shade is not adequate to give you all the contrast you would like to bring out in a monochrome. Therefore, it is very important when you try to try with shades that are dark. So if you're doing a green, go for the darkest green you have in your palette. If you have a blue, go for indigo and colors like that. Even if you're going for a red, red is nice. It's actually quite nice. But if you take a scarlet versus if you take something like crimson, you're going to have more success with crimson than with scarlet because the darkest in scarlet and the darkest in crimson are still about 2 or 3 shades away, right? So keep that in mind when you're deciding what kind of monochrome you would like to do. The fact the success of your monochrome would be largely based on how deep your deep shade, the darkest shade gets. Okay. So which is why pencil is great because pencil gives you a near black. I'm going to pick up, I have not used purple. Purple is, what I like to do is test your darkest shade just to see whether, yeah, this is my darkest and purple. Not bad. So test your darkest shade, see if you are getting a really deep, rich color, and then pick that. If it's pencil, no problem. If either of you doing it in pencil, then there's no problem because you know your darkest. Now let me just try brown. I like brown. Brown is also nice. Maybe I'll try brown. Brown is sharper than my, my purple. I'll try brown. Okay. So second thing here is, okay, we have a choice of photos, by the way. I picked up a whole lot of them. Some you will notice are black and white, like this pumpkin here, even this cherry blossom, I've left it black and white because initially when we start off, let's look at black and white. It makes the whole process very easy because you already have only shades, no hues. But after that, I have two examples here, especially of landscapes, which are in color. Now, the reason I did these color ones also is because go out in the world and you decide to pick a topic, a subject. That subject is not going to become black and white for you just because you wanted to paint it monochrome, right? So we have to be able to see something in color and still spot dark and light in different colors, right? And try and get them to what do you call it? Put them on a shade scale that is one. So for example, now um, this uh, this bridge here, you have a creamish brownish light shade, and then you have also green, and then you have also blue. All of them have light shades. So there is a light blue, and there is a light cream, and there is a light green. Okay, now how are we going to align them on a shade chart when you are looking at it in color? To convert this, of course, today we have tools. You can just go edit, put a black and white filter. You got your, that option is there. But giving it a go in color helps the mind also to slowly uh, see things as shades and not let the color influence. Okay. Anyway, first example, let's take this pumpkin. Pumpkin is a nice example for pencil. So if you've got your pencil or color ready, before we start the pumpkin, we will just first do that shade example that Atti always makes us, right? How light can you get with your color and how dark can you get with your color? So let's draw some boxes. I think this box concept is very nice. Okay. I'm just going to draw a rectangle lightly and put, now I'm not determining how many boxes I want right just yet, because I'd like to see if I can get 5 shades or 6 shades. Okay, that's up to you. That's a personal ability to get how many shades you can. If you ask Aditi, she may get 10 out of the same pencil, but I may get only 5. So that's how we can. I mean, we can work on our pressure and all that and get different shades. So let's try our lightest. You're going to hear some background noise. Huh? I have a kid in the background. She's playing. Also, I'm half deaf today, so please, if I talk loudly, please tell me.
How is your ear?
I
What
can't
was
hear
this?
from this side. It's completely swollen. My outer ear canal has is inflamed, so
Oh,
it's basically sound is not going through till the inflammation subsides. I'm like only 50% sound is going in. So I'm waiting on my right ear to tell me.
But why was this? You had cold or something?
Yeah, I had a cold. That was one thing when I was in Kerala. The other was that
Uh,
I get the skin inflammations every time there is a weather change. So every time
oh,
you go from rain to heat and heat to rain and all that happened. So when we traveled, immediately I had a flare on my scalp, skin issues and all that. So that causes itching in the ear.
oh.
So can't do much about it. Unfortunately, it got inflamed. I should have got my antibiotics started before all this.
so are we supposed to do just one layer or do a double layer?
What is that?
The lightest shade, is it just one layer or
Yeah,
do
just
a
the
double?
lightest possible you can get. So basically keep it as, yeah, one only. Absolutely no more layers than one. Yeah. Now the second one. So the good thing about pencil, if you, any color pencil or normal pencil, is that there's two ways to get dark. One, pressure. The other is going over the same thing with the same pressure. So you don't have to increase pressure. Without increasing pressure, by just going over the same thing again and again, depositing more pigment, whatever color, you will get a darker shade. That's not always the case with watercolor. It's not, I mean, the technique can be applied to watercolor, but it will not become a gradual shading. Watercolor may give you some blotchiness. I'm going second round on this, I'm getting it little dark. Still not increasing pressure, only repeat. I got a slightly darker one. Now in my third box, I'm going to increase a little bit of pressure also. Vertically, horizontally should give you, make a big difference actually. Are you both also doing color pencils?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Just a wee bit more pressure and I've got a little darker shade. So I'll make one more box and see if I can get darker than this. If you get 5, that is just fine. Huh? Even if you get like 5 boxes, that's good enough. But if you get 6, that's excellent. Okay, I got 4. I'm not sure if I'm going to get 6. Maybe with graphite, I would have got 6, you know. But with this brown is already not as dark as black. One, two, three, 4. Did get a slightly darker shade than the last one I did. Although this is a bit too much pressure for me, I don't think I like to put so much pressure on a color pencil. Still, it is possible. Yeah, like really pressing down, I managed to get this. How many shades did you all manage?
6.
I got
One minute, my internet connection is unstable. Why is it unstable?
Can you see it?
Yeah, nice, Alka. Very good. That's looking quite nice. Really good. And how's this? Oh, Varsha. You also taken brown, Varsha?
yeah.
Yeah, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so this is fine. Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. In fact, when you do the outlines for the darkest part, you may get an additional shade which you're not getting here right now. But that's fine. Very good.
Hmm.
So now what we will do is using that color that you picked and you've done your shading. Oh, where's my? Yeah. Using the same color, now let's draw the shape of this pumpkin. Okay, we won't worry about the background. Okay, we'll talk about the background and what to do in the background after we get the shades of the pumpkin in. Okay, right now let's just draw the pumpkin, and we'll draw it here, the side here. Okay, and let's shade the pumpkin out completely before we worry about what to do with the background. Okay, so shape of the pumpkin is, don't worry too much now about the shape. Okay, now this is one thing, since we are doing study to understand shading. Your pumpkin is slightly wider, taller, doesn't matter, it looks like a pumpkin, works. Okay, so here I'm going to just keep your pencil marks light. I'm eyeballing this. This is roughly, okay, let me just draw the center. The center somewhere here. It's going up. From here itself, this will be a good way to start. Start from something where you can draw. Give yourself some guide. Look at the height of this one. Almost double, little less than double of this stop. Yeah, I've already made it short. 1, 2, somewhere here. Now, bottom ones you can barely see because of the darkness of the bottom. On this side, no, you can barely see the distinction between the pumpkin and the base of the table. Just base of the pumpkin, if you notice, it seems to be rising along with the top, like as each layer rises, even this starts to rise. So just maintain that rise a little bit. A funny shape. Some bulges that are quite off. To me, it looks somewhat like a pumpkin only. So I'm going to now start shading in what I see. Yeah? So all the demarcations seem to be a little darker. So maybe you can start from there, or you can start from the lightest actually. There's no harm in starting from the lightest. This part is light, very light. And to the right of the pumpkin, it's lighter still. So reserve all your lightest shades for almost paper white shades for your right side. Maybe that's where I should start. Little. Now, somebody told me in the Tuesday class, if you're going to color it so light and we can barely see it, What is the distinction that the pumpkin doesn't, like, how do I know where the pumpkin ends and the paper begins? Basically, you get what I'm saying. No, the lightest portions here are almost as white as the paper. So how do we know it? We don't know it because right now we are not putting the dark background we are seeing in the photo. So don't be worried that your light shades are not showing. It is not going to show because there's no dark background. No? Keep that in mind. There was a lot of discussion around that. Like, oh, I can't get my white to stand out. It's not going to stand out. Even if we do just half of the pumpkin, no, we can stop. We don't have to finish it all off right now, but we'll just step back and look at it. I really want to get to that landscape, I don't want to miss out on the landscape. That is actually great fun. If either of you is on Skillshare, you should check out a course by Ritikana Nath, who she does monochromes, on full course on monochromes. It goes through 7 colors. Really pretty. Coming along?
So we're going to apply the darker shades, right?
Yes, yes. Apply the darker shades as you come. I mean, in fact, this for this pumpkin exercise, you can start applying the darker shades at almost every slice, like every curve. There is a darker shade, right? So
Yeah.
apply those as you see them. Huh? Now, for example, if you notice, there is in on the left side, there's only one that reaches kind of this level dark, like 4 or 5 level dark. Only this one place. Baki, everything is like sitting within the first three shades that you create. So keep that in mind when you are adding your darker shades. And also look where the shades are coming. If I mean, if you look closely, I'm noticing that the dark shades are on the inner part and at the base a bit, and sometimes at the tip a bit. But this outermost curve, almost all of them are nice and light. So just do that analysis, because when you're rubbing your pencil over, like over and over, don't rub it. Definitely don't rub it on the extreme out here. Do that on the in the inner parts and on the base parts.
Okay.
It will automatically darken. And now that it's color pencil, eraser really won't work at all. So if by mistake you darken a little too much, don't worry. That's just a lesson learned. We will just let that be. I'll do the stump also, by the way. I will just the stump of there's darkness on the left side of this. First, I'll put the shade in. And after I put the shade in, then I will take the tip of the pencil. If that's where, if you have a nice pointed pencil, this is going to help. The tip of the pencil will give you the lines that you're seeing on the step. Just the tip of your pencil. So if you feel your pencil has become blunt, sharpen it and get a point before you start drawing these details. Okay, these vertical lines that you see on the stalk. Just make sure your pencil is sharp enough to make thin lines. If it has got blunt. Now here on the left side of the pumpkin, you will notice, sorry, the stalk, you will notice that if you want this part of the stalk to be seen, this part of the pumpkin needs to be a little bit darker than the stalk. See now, for example, here I'm not seeing a distinction in my stalk and my pumpkin. See right here, kind of merging. You can't make out. So the darkness has to be on this side, a little bit more, wee bit more on the pumpkin, so that the stalk starts to show. See out. Now the stalk is more clear. So keep that in mind. Sometimes it is the dark next to the object that makes it stand out.
Nenu Alika,
Sorry. if you want to get this very dark shade, okay, just this one line, it's so stark, right? Again, use a pointy pencil or pointed edge and just run it from where it starts. It doesn't start all the way from here. It starts somewhere off the stalk. And from there to the bottom, just that point, run that point neatly down till the curve. That's it will bring the emphasis that you need for the darker shading that you have put. See, because if you keep on shading it, it is not going to get that dark. You need that single one line. Yeah. The same thing here. I'm getting a nice deep shade, but it's never getting deep enough. At this point, I will stop because the rest of it can be done later. I want to show you what is going to happen to our picture. Now, currently, you've got like here, I think to a large extent, I've got a lot of the shades that are there in the yeah. Okay. To a large extent, I've got a lot. I can still go on making shades better and better. But to get the contrast of this pumpkin better, what is going to be the success is going to be in making sure that the background, that just the immediate background is darker than the pumpkin that you are shading. Okay. So on this section itself, I'm going to put in a little bit of a background. This background space here. Is quite dark. All the way to this, see, all through. It's quite dark. So I'm putting in that darkness. You read it? Basically, I went on the outer part of the outline of the pumpkin and I put in a dark. Let me continue that here also. Just for the half that I have already colored. But for this to be successful, remember that you have to outline your pumpkin before putting the dark. Otherwise, it is possible the shape will get lost. Just outline and then put in your dark. Now, since we are not keeping with the texture in the background, the wood, nothing like that, it does not matter what happens to the rest of the background. Okay, so let me just show you what I will do now. Now I will start lightening because I don't want to draw in all the rest of the texture. I want it to be there. It could be table, it could be background, doesn't matter. Now my pencil starts to get lighter gradually.
But Susan, though we, make that outline in the picture, at least at the bottom, there are not sharp, no, there are no sharp edges, right?
Yeah. So that is only no, there are, so it's not sharp. See now, for example, there is more of the pumpkin here, which we can't see. See, under this, no? Even though we are seeing this as dark, there is actually a little bit more that we can't see.
Mm.
Okay, so what we are doing is we are simply coloring in whatever is black, we're coloring black. Now it may not be the actual what do you call it? It may not be the actual thing. So for example, this black that we're coloring very close to the edge of the pumpkin may still be the pumpkin. It may not be the background that we're coloring.
Okay.
We are simply looking at the color. We are trying to
Okay,
match
okay.
the color. That's what I'm trying to say. So the base of the pumpkin may actually be somewhere in this blackness, but that is fine. We have seen that it stops over here, stop it there. That's all.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Don't worry that the pumpkin is ending here or not ending here. We can't see where it is ending. So leave it. And I'm fading off a background, leaving it kind of just this much fading. That's it. This is just so that I can see the pumpkin and I can bring the contrast and make it stand out against the darker background. But that's it. Okay. So now that we've done this half of a pumpkin, we can do the same activity with the second half. It's not going to be much different. The only difference is that the second half of the pumpkin is going to be slightly darker. You're not going to have as many light tones as you had on the right side. Yeah. So we can complete that later. But can you see the difference this background has made to the pumpkin? Now the pumpkin is standing out. Initially, without that background, we're starting to feel like, where is the light? Why is the light not showing light enough? It's because of the contrast of the background. Now that we brought the contrast in, if we go in, you may even get better shades of the pumpkin now if you go back and shade it some bits. Okay. So now that I have the dark over here, I feel that this could have been a little darker. This curve here. Okay. I also feel this could have been a little dark. So background makes a world of a difference. It makes you, gives you a better idea of the shade on the pumpkin. I can deepen this easily. In fact, here the white lightness is too little. I don't have that much lightness. Here the line is a little sharper. Now, if I want these lines to show, I definitely have to darken it a bit. See? Now the pumpkin seems to have some line. As long as we've got the understanding of this, the exercise is basically done. Okay, so I don't want to spend far too much time here now. I can go on and make this darker and darker and bring in a lot more shading. Yeah. So the second part of this I leave for later. I can continue this later. Now what we'll do is, using this concept, let's go on to watercolor. Okay. And we have these cherry blossoms were very interesting. Like I really felt like I wanted to challenge myself to do this. Over here, the cherry blossoms are going to they are going to feature some paper white. Okay. A big consideration in monochrome paintings is that your lightest color can be paper white. This is something that we have to always keep in mind, especially when we are painting and coloring monochromes on white paper. If you're doing it on dark paper, that's fine. You have to put in your white. But where you are painting on a white surface, remember to harness the white of the surface itself when you're doing a monochrome. So in this painting, for example, not all of the flower, but the lightest portions of the flower here, okay, here, here, and here, this portion. it is so bright that you should actually keep it white. You should not have to put any color on top. Okay. So keep those in mind. Why? Because when we are applying our lightest shade, no, they should not touch these. These portions should stay uh, without even the lightest touch of your color. Okay. So let's just draw this with a pencil. We can decide the color later. First, we'll just draw the outline of these flowers. I'm trying to fit them in the space here, so it's not very big. These are very simple 5-petal flowers, huh? So don't overthink it. Keep it simple. As long as they look somewhat proportionate, you are fine. Cherry blossoms tend to have a little bit of a pointy end, not very sharp, but not a rounded end. So just try to get that part so that it looks like a cherry blossom. That's all. Now here you have some white lines. It's going to be a challenge if we put in the color. And then we have these vertical lines indicating our stamen, is it? I'm thinking here. Just a few. I'm drawing already too big. I'm going to go over my. What should I do? Maybe I'll just draw 2 flowers because I'm already quite large. First flower at the base only is so big. I'm not going to have space to do more. So I'll just put one more above it. If you all can fit your 2 more flowers, please go ahead and put 2 more flowers. Now, what is this called? It's called, what is the term for it? Foreshortening? Foreshortening.
Yeah.
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 This part, this leaf facing us is actually as long as the other leaves, but because its angle is slightly upward, you are going to start to feel that it is a smaller leaf. So put it in as a smaller leaf, like how you see it. Don't worry about the proportion looking off. It is just the angle of the leaf. Now I have a problem because I have one leaf overlap, one petal overlapping the next flower, which I'm not going to draw. So I'm going to just leave it that way. Okay. I'm going to assume that that's what it is. I can't draw the other. And a few stamen. This dark portion here, we are going to have to paint it in. Okay. In addition to this, I will put a stem that I can see. At this point, I can see a stem. Here, there's some little bit of stem, but it's all hidden. Here, there's a stem. Now for the buds, there are some buds that I can draw. Buds are just like oval shapes with a slight layering of petals. So keep it that way, slightly oval shape. Okay, I got 2 buds in. Now this bud over here. Are these sepals? I'm not a botanist, but if Zai was here, she would have told us. Sepals, I think, the one that comes under petals, petals, yeah. 0. Push through. I'm going to let this line lead upwards, and that's without a third flower. That's it. Leaving it. Are you able to draw 3 flowers, or are you stuck like me drawing 2?
Yeah, I could draw 3 flowers.
You draw 3. Good.
Hmm.
Good. So which color shall we do this in? Looking at our palette. Any suggestions on a nice dark color? Any dark color. I'll just go and get my palette and come. Just give me, meanwhile, just look at your palette and see which one feels to you. You've already done a blue in pencil, right?
Carmine.
Carmine. Okay. Oh, you
That's just,
want to try a carmine?
yeah, because I've
Yeah, yeah.
never used that color.
Correct. Why not? In fact, last time, no, I used viridian green, and
Uh,
Elaine told me, oh, that's Aditi's least favorite color. I said, yeah, that's it. We should use all those colors. Those
yeah,
are the colors we don't like.
so the carmine cake on my paint box is still almost perfect. Like
Perfect. Na?
everything has got holes. Everything else has holes in it.
I'm assuming this is carmine. Let me just see. Carmine is. Oh, that's burnt sienna. Where carmine? Oh, I don't have
Oh, it's
carmine.
not there in this. It's there in the 24
Oh, it's
box.
in the 24 set. Yeah. So
Uh,
use carmine if you have it. I'll use crimson. You may get a slightly darker, deeper shade because you're using
uh,
carmine. That doesn't matter. No problem. And it does make sense because we are, after all, doing cherry blossoms. Nice to have a pinkish shade than another color. So let's take carmine. Do you have, Varsha, do you have carmine? Or are you going to go with crimson like me?
Yeah, I'll go with crimson. I have a
Crimson.
smaller
Huh.
box.
Okay. Yeah, mine also has only crimson, so we'll use crimson. Alka, you can do carmine.
okay.
So, first things first, we have to give ourselves a shade chart. Just so we know the deepest color we can get and the lightest. So we can start a shade chart. Now this is up to you actually. The placement of this flower is so odd. I can probably put a shade chart on this side. Yeah, maybe here. It could be horizontal, it could be vertical, it doesn't matter. You can even do it horizontally here. Then takes up space. Okay, I'll do it vertically. I don't want to eat into the space. I want to keep some space for our landscape here. Okay, I'll do it vertically, okay? What you could do is activate the carmine or the pink, in our case, the crimson. Okay, activate it nicely. Make sure that the pigment is woken up nicely because we want to get the really deep shade of it. Okay? Like as much of pigment as we can possibly collect from this cake. And I'm going to start from, oh, I'm going to start here with my deepest color. Okay, pulling the paint down. Now dip into water, just the tip of your brush, and start pulling down the shade. You can Take off some paint if you like from your brush. And again, dip in a little bit of water and drag down the paint. Okay. Clean off the brush again, wet it, and drag. So now we are not adding any more pigment. We are simply dragging down the pigment from the top. It's only water I'm adding to lighten the shade. No more pigment. Clean the brush again. Dip it in water. Drag it down further. So it's already getting quite light. I think now I can just bring in some water and it will almost join the white of the paper. Off all the pigment. Absolutely clean brush. And that's it. Be able to get anything dark, lighter than this. Yeah. So this is a great way to determine what shade you want to apply to the colors you have over here. Now, I have just for visually, like I do this sometimes when I feel like I'm getting caught up in the shades, I kind of give them some numbers. So if I take a pencil and I mark this as 1, maybe something like 2, then a slightly deeper shade 3, and a 4 over here, a 5 over here, 6, and maybe 7. So when I give this kind of numbering, this is just to help you. Okay? When you give this sort of numbering, what happens is when you look at the picture now, you can start looking at it in terms of numbers. Okay. So I have white. White ke baad, I will definitely be applying ones around this part. You know, the inner part of all my petals on the left side. Top right side is all white. Then as you get to the center, top centers, they are getting into 1. Okay. Then when we come to the top left, or maybe even the top middle right here, this side, on 2 of these leaves, it's already moved into 3. Okay. Now just 1 minute. Can you notice this color here on this petal or on this petal, one of these 2 petals? Does it not match the background?
Hmm.
Look at this color and look at this color. This color and this color are very, very close, if not matching. Or for that matter, this color and maybe a little further up. They are quite close. Okay. So how is it that then you get this shade? How do you get to see it? Because behind it is something that's very dark. Had this little piece of bark not been there or stem not been there, if it was just the background gray, this may have merged almost seamlessly with that gray. Yeah. So this is something that we don't see otherwise. We see white flowers. Oh, these are all white flowers and there's slightly gray here and there. That's it. Mostly it's just white. It's not all white. These shades over here are very much matching the shades over here, which on my shade chart would be something like a 3, where I've marked it at 3 or 4. Between 3 and 4 is where I would peg this background and some of my petals. Okay. Then when I look at maybe here at the base of these buds, okay, I'm starting to see it reach a 4. This bud, the darkest grays are now a 4 for me, 4, easily 4. Then by 5, we are at the outer part of the stem, the outer part of the stem, where the sun is hitting the stem. This part. Okay, that could be like a 5. And then the stem is definite. Stem, centers, stamen, all of these are definitely a 7. You have to hit a 7 for all of these so that you can see all these lighter portions clearly. So looking at the picture and then looking at your scale and seeing that this is what you need to do helps you put down the layers you want to put more accurate than just starting. And also the other question becomes, how do you start? Do you start with the dark? Usually with watercolor, we do not. We usually start with light because you can't, once you put color down, you can't take it off, right? So let's start with our lightest shade of crimson. Now in this case, crimson. I'm going to take it out on the palette because you can't pick it off the cake. It will never be light. Make some space. Take some water, like a dot of this color. Okay. And let's go in and put these. Now I'm keeping my colors here. I'm going to put in here some little like I don't know whether they call flecks. I see a little bit of gray here on these leaves. Otherwise, it's all white. All that I'm leaving white is white, completely white. Now this petal here is hidden, so it's almost entirely gray. And then on this petal, I see a very light here. And some small dashes here. I'm not even sure if you can see these dashes I'm making because they're so light. Really too light. Now here I see a small little line going across. Okay. Here definitely darker. I can put down the shade nicely on the whole petal. Here I see small lines because of the shadow of the other petal. So I'm going to leave these dashes up, by the way. Let me just show you. I know it's very light. Can you see how weird it looks? It looks like it's very hodgepodge, you know, like I just applied my brush without much thought. But that is the shape that I'm seeing on the petal. So I'm just going to put it in. If we need to darken this, we'll darken it in the second row. This one is definitely all gray. This is also all gray. So I'm definitely putting it all dark, all light. In fact, I may come back and darken it. But that's fine. Now in the buds, there's a bit of white on the edge, just the edge. Everything else is colored. Just the outer edge of the bud. Now these areas which are dark, no, like very, very dark, like the darker shade, you don't have to wait for the paint to be directly colored dark. You can put these lighter shades on top. Say for example here, okay, this is a 7 on my chart, on my shade chart here. But it's okay if I went in with a light color and then when I have to apply the 7, it will go on top. So don't worry about that. If you need to apply it over darker portions, it's okay. It is just the lighter portions you have to make sure that you leave the whites. So I can see a little bit of white here, little here. That's it. Done. If you want to do the stem also, that's also fine, but I'm going to leave it. Anyway, it's coming in color. Okay. Next. So after my 1 by 2, I'm going to bring in a little more pigment. Just a little bit. Okay. And this pigment, I'm going to apply at certain portions here. Now look at this picture here. Can you see in the gray that I have got a small portion here that's really little darker? Small little hues, one here, one curve here. If you have this flower, one curve here, one little bit here, separating the petals. So where the petals are separated, over there, like a shadow, you will see a little bit added on. Put that in. Okay. So I know it's looking quite dark here. It will get lighter. There, lighter. Just pick it off with the brush. Okay, then here I see one spot. Over here, shadow is definitely darker, so I want to put it darker. As you see it, so don't overthink it. If you see it, put it. If you don't see it, go on to the next color. I see darkness here. I see a little bit on this side here. Now the center here, I'm going to leave a little whiteness because I can see a little white. So let me just, what else? Yeah, I can go in with the little dark shades here on the bud. There's definitely a dark shade here. This is going to get deeper eventually. It's fine. Mostly this is shadow, shadow of one petal falling on the other. Okay. That's it. So two colors in. Already you can see some difference in the tonal shade. Now the next deeper color I'm going to put is going to be on the entire background. So I'm going to make a little more of this shade, like my number 3. Yeah. I'm going to make a little more quantity of this because I'm going to go around the flowers. And I don't want to run out of this paint. So if you want to use a slightly thicker brush for this part, you can try, because Aditi does tell us to use a bigger brush if you want to do backgrounds and stuff like that. The other thing I like is sometimes if you have a pointy brush, it helps to get the outline better. So I have this silver black velvet brush of mine. Gives me a nice point. Yep. This is the color that's going to go around all my flowers. That's why the point would be nice. If you had a brush with a nice point, you could bring out the shape of the leaf very well. Don't worry if it goes over the stem is going to be dark. Going to be always a bit challenging, especially on drawing paper. I think only Aditi has developed the kind of skill to get this really not too patchy. That I'm still not there. Mine turns out patchy sometimes, often, sometimes. often. She tends to, I think, blur it very, 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 very. Yeah. Shape on this is so important. Actually, the shape of your petal is going to be determined by this outline that you put, less than the colors that you put into the petal. This is the one that will give you the. You can dry off your brush and just run it along this part, and it will lighten the shape. Here I have it. Here, this white patch here, it looks white, but it's actually the bark, the stem. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. We'll put the dark color when we put it later. You can go over it if you want, but it's not necessary. It's more important, but I mean, important that we get all the other parts in. What shape of the bud. Now dry off your brush. Still very hard not to get patchy. See over here. Last part is just around the stem. I'm just putting one layer around the stem and drying it off. Brush down. I'm not going to do much more than this. Number 3 to 4, that shade is got. Now we go into a shade 5. Little more crimson. Little less water. Applying this layer, just be careful. Wherever you're applying it, your background should have dried. Otherwise, it's going to just go straight into the background that we put. So watch carefully where you're going to be putting this in. Particularly because if you're putting it on the stem or some part like that, it's problematic. So I'm going to start putting in these little dots. Okay. And even the centers of this. It's dark and I can see certain. If you look at this, no, really tricky to draw these shapes. You're almost drawing it negatively. Huh? Quite tricky. We got some color there. Now with a very fine brush, you need to take a size 0, 00, whatever you have. Let's start putting in these. Stamen or pollen. Pollen is what on top, right? I think these would be stamen. These lines. Now, what we have already put as tips over here on top, we will have to darken when we reach us, like when we make our number 7 level of pigment. We will need to darken these. Huh? For now, you'll see that I've just put them as dots. You will have to darken it later. Okay, same way I'm going to go with the second flower here. Here. Let me start with the stem. In fact, yes. Then I get the painting to get the white lines. You notice that sometimes the darkness is also separating the petals. Huh? It's separating the petals very subtly. Don't worry too much about the. Yeah, Varsha, no problem. Okay. Now this has given us time to create a darker shade now with which we can go in onto these parts. Okay. The base of our buds. Over here. You can, if your paper is dry, even put in the shades here on the bark. Although the bark is going to get lighter, huh? Sorry, darker now. I'm just putting it in because then we can see. It's a lot of fine work, huh, by the way. Maybe cherry blossom was not a good idea. Yeah, when I come here, notice that the bark has a little bit of white. White means lightness. So keep that. Remember that we have to come back in a deep shade and then keep that lightness at the edge. Taking some shape. There is some. Are they standing out now? Now the white of the thing is definitely more evident. And this gray that I was talking about, it's not as gray as we need it. This is where you can see my, maybe on camera it's not so clear, but I don't feel that this gray petal is gray enough. So I'm going to go in, wash, make it just a bit gray. Lightly now. Better. Okay, darkest shade now. Very easy. Take it straight from your palette, from your cake. Only dip the tip of your brush. Only the tip of your brush, because now we are not applying it so many places, and we have to be very careful how much of it we put. This is definitely one place that we. Then there is the base of all these white. Not too much, just a little bit. But in a monochrome painting, this last detail of the darkest dark that you're putting makes so much of a difference. It makes your entire picture pop. Really does. So spend the time that you need to do it, because it's all worth it. Absolutely worth it. May look odd. Don't feel very worried about it, because see, we're taking this thing out of context, right? We're taking just these two flowers out of an entire bunch. So it's going to look at some places a little weird, but don't worry. Here I'm going to leave a little bit of a lightness on the wing. This is what I was talking about, slight highlight. And the bottom is dark. Bring in this darkness at one side. But at certain places, just I think a little bit of the bud also needs that color. This bud definitely. So here I can see a sepal sticking out. Pollen sticking out. So I'm just going putting that dot in. And on the outer part over here, there is one. Yeah, it should be enough. Try off this and you can even shape this. That's it. How is it turned out for you? Is it looking somewhere near nice? How is it?
I couldn't complete because I had to
No problem.
take the door.
In a picture like this, the goodness is only going to come out if we put some background. Because our flowers are so light white, without that background, no, you're not going to get the pop. Which is why I put that background. Otherwise, we would not get the same effect. We'd keep looking at this flower and thinking, why are we not getting? We're already at 11:32. Look at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we didn't achieve
Even
as
two
much.
flowers, they're looking so nice. The shape has
Sorry?
come out very well. Just the two flowers also look so nice. The shape
I
has come
know.
out very well.
Not too bad, no? Yeah, I wish though I had done the 3 because it would have looked really nice. Just complete. Now that I've seen the picture. If you don't see the picture, it's okay. You see the picture, like, okay, missing one more flower. How is it, Alka?
And
See, let's see. One minute, let me spotlight it. I won't be able to see it. Oh, nice. Very nice, Alka.
so this is like the third shade, or Arka, you have used all the shades. The darkest one you have to yet to use, is it?
I think I still have to use it. I tried in the center, but I think I can go a little darker.
So do one thing, Alka. Now,
Yeah.
whatever dark you're applying, apply
Huh.
to the thinnest brush. Don't
Huh.
very, very
Yeah, I have it's a 0.
zero. Only apply to 0. Maybe a
Hmm.
stamen. At best,
Okay.
the top, just the the pollen at the top.
Huh.
Just that,
Okay.
It'll and the stem. Maybe the underside of the
The
stem
underside of the stem. Yeah. Okay.
just darken, and that will give you and the buds where you put the buds, the sepals
Huh.
of the buds are quite dark.
Okay.
If you bring that darkness
Yeah,
into
yeah, yeah, yeah. Huh.
straight away, your picture is going to have the same kind of effect that you want.
Okay.
Good.
So,
had the time to do this one. I was really hoping to do this picture,
yeah.
I wanted
Yeah.
this. I really wanted to do this. So what we could do is, I don't know, because now what's going to happen is next Saturday, if we decide to do this, those who missed would have not.
They'll miss the base.
Yeah,
They'll have missed
exactly.
the basic.
They'll miss the
Yeah.
basic part of it. Yeah. I'm trying to see what should we do.
So
So
before
let's
that,
see if
Adit,
you plan something. If it's
Susan,
again just the two of us, we'll do this.
Sorry, what is it?
yeah, we could do
You
it.
plan something. If it's again just the two of us, do this.
Yeah, we can do this. Yeah, we can. Yeah, since we've only the three of us have met
Huh.
once more in the week and
If
just
it's
complete.
yeah.
Yeah, because I really want to do this one, because when I looked at it also, I love the picture, but I'm
Hmm.
like thinking, what is the monochrome going to be like?
Hmm.
Because the picture is very lovely, and if you tell me to recreate it in color, I can almost visualize how it's going to go.
Hmm.
But monochrome is going to be another story,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. So we should do this. So how about we meet sometime during the week or next weekend or something? If three of us are free, sometime we'll just quickly get on a call and just finish off just this one. What we could do, okay, as a just to quicken the process, is we could sketch this out. Okay.
Okay.
So what maybe that would make things faster. So
How big would that sketch need to be?
what I would
A6
suggest
size.
is, oh sorry,
A6 size sketch.
no, this size only. This is the second part of
Ah.
our page.
Okay. Yeah.
Second,
On the
yeah,
second part
second
of the
part
page.
of our
Sound good.
page. What I'm thinking is, take your masking tape, like how
Ah.
Aditi talks out space, no?
Ah.
Now this is a rectangular picture. So block out a rectangular space.
Ah.
Block out this rectangular space with the masking, whatever, washi tape or whatever.
Hmm.
And in that rectangle that you have decided, just draw the structure out, basic
Okay.
structure of the bridge,
Bridge and the
this
tower.
tower, and foliage and all. We can just leave an outline like, okay, yahan tak
Okay.
it will come. That's it. Don't go into too
ठीक
much
है.
of detail. Maybe a little bit of the tree. That's it. Don't do much more. Don't do much more. We just want to mark out our areas which are dark. Now here, no, here
Hmm.
there's darkness. So just do
Ah.
it with a pencil. Just do an outline. That's enough. Water and all, no, we'll just get the shades as we paint it. We won't do it. So keep
Varsha,
this
let
out.
us know when you're free.
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay. Sure.
Because
I'll
I'm
tell you.
largely free.
Yeah, and
Susan
let's,
has some
Yeah.
running around to do.
yeah.
So since you have calls and meetings and stuff, you let us know when you're free, then we'll do.
Okay,
Okay. I'll surely tell you.
so let's decide once we are, I mean, maybe we can do it during the week itself or at end of the week. You tell me. Once you all are both done with your sketch, let's just fix a time.
Okay.
Do the sketch. And as soon as you've done the sketch, this should not take, according to me, not take more than 45 minutes, but we should do it fast. See, we should time ourselves. Otherwise,
Yeah.
what's going to happen? You can take 3 hours also if you want.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
Correct.
we should actually push ourselves to get moving. Okay, that's it. Let's apply this and let's get on to the next. So we'll just connect the three of us. When you're done with the sketch, just ping me. Both of you can
Okay.
ping me separately. If you're done with the sketch, and then we'll decide, just get 45 minutes and finish it off. Yeah, on this side.
Done.
Okay. Great.
Okay,
So
bye. This
I
was
have a
fun.
question. Wait,
Yeah.
Susan.
Ah.
I think I shared this picture on the group. So
Oh,
you
did
got 7 shades, right? So I could only identify like 5. So is that all right, or we should aim to get more shades?
See, so Varsha, that is a very subjective thing. Very, very subjective. Now, if a pro artist will look at the same picture and probably identify 10 shades. Okay. That's because you and I are just still looking at only certain things. We are only able to decipher some shades that our eye can make out. And someone who is a novice at painting may only see three different shades. And that is perfectly fine. So this identifying how many shades are there in a picture is very, very subjective. I can't
Okay.
even tell you that this picture has 15 shades, this picture has 10 shades fixed. There is no fixed number because it's all gray, right? It's all gray.
Got it.
And on something that is like this, with here we have demarcated them with lines and we've said, okay, chalo, this is a fixed shade. We have not talked about a shade between two of these. There is something called a shade between the two. So that becomes too fine and too refined at this point when you're doing a study. probably do not need that level of detail. But
Okay.
having said that, the way we get better at monochrome is increasing the number of shades we see and putting, some effort into looking for that detail. So the more shades you see and the more shades you can translate, the finer your picture becomes. The more realistic your picture starts to. That's it. That's all
Yeah,
it is.
got it.
Okay, so don't
Yeah,
worry.
see, because I've got much
Self-employed,
fewer shades.
so fine.
I didn't drag it, I think, enough. So I've got like maybe 4 shades.
Yeah,
Very,
yeah. So I was just giving myself like a guide to see these.
yeah.
Okay, where do I see them? Where do I see them? Now, for example, if you gave me the choice to sit at this for 3 more hours, I will go into the petal, okay, zoom in and look at the small little lines that you see over there. Those are also
Yeah.
shades. And those are shades somewhere in this bit. And I had to take a fine brush and draw in those little lines, and you'll get it. The point is you'll get it. But with the way we are proceeding, you can do this in a short period of time, in a longer period of time, and get more shades. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So we were doing it fast. We wanted to finish it in this time. But I'm just saying, if you decide to spend a lot of detailed time on it, you will find all the shades you're looking for. And that could be a big number. It could
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
Got it.
So, but this is a good exercise, because when you do this and then look at your picture, you at least start to identify them in some grade.
Yeah.
It's all okay. Gray, so gray. That's also gray. Everything's gray. What? How
So
do
maybe
I?
when you're putting the shades, you think they're lighter and darker, but as it starts drying, you find that they're merging, and you're like, oh, I thought this was lighter, but it's not. It's like just merged into
Exactly,
the background.
exactly. And when you bring in your
So yeah.
darkest dark,
Huh.
all over again, you have to recalibrate. When your darkest dark comes in, no, suddenly you realize, oh, this
Yeah.
light was not light. This is like,
Correct.
yeah, you get know what I'm
Because
saying?
my petals were
Dark
just looking like
comes,
blobs, then I had to kind of add a little more color to them too. They were just looking like white blobs.
correct, correct, correct. It's good fun, but these things.
Really.
I'll
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.